Hi, I'm Leela and I'm the head girl at DBSEH this academic year.
My name's Finley and I'm the head boy at DBSEH this academic year.
And welcome to our podcast,
The DBS Dialogue.
We would like to wish all our listeners a Ramadan Kareem. May the peace of God bless you this month during periods of fasting, reflection and strengthening your relationship with God. Today we are joined by the owner of Leela's Lunches, Lavi, and we will be discussing the inspiration behind Leela's Lunches, finding balance between nutrition and taste, and the future of Leela's Lunches as well.
So, Lavi, can you tell us a bit about your background and how you came into the food industry?
Sure. Hi guys, firstly, hello everyone, and thank you Leila and Finley for hosting me. My background, funnily enough, I come from a finance background. I studied finance and accounting at university in the US and had a career in investment banking before this. I was always looking to do something of my own, wanted my own entrepreneurial journey, and this idea sort of came to me at a barbecue I had at my friend's house. My friend who is now my business partner. Problem solving is something that I've always been interested in, and it just so happens that the problem was in the food industry. There appeared to be no healthy and tasty options for kids, for children of all ages. Kids' menus everywhere are a bit of an afterthought. The only way you could get children to have a healthy meal was to have that meal prepared at home. Mm-hmm. To me, this was like an obvious gap in the market because it is simply not conducive to a working parent's lifestyle. It doesn't make sense for parents to have to choose between convenience, taste and health, and that's sort of where the concept started. That's how I ended up in the food industry.
Yeah, it's lovely that it's, I don't want to be reductive, but it's simple, but it's just so effective in so many different levels, and you really see that in our school canteen. It's just it's so popular, like everyone loves it, and everyone goes on about how amazing it actually is in the
That's
food.
Wonderful to hear.
Really, the outcome and the response to it is so positive.
Yeah, I think the best ideas are always the simplest ones, and you sort of wonder why is it that other people haven't done it before.
Mm-hmm. So in your position, what are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced, and how have you been able to overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, so the challenges have probably evolved during the course of this business. So we are now 7 years old as a company. And, if you asked me this question in all 7 of the answer would have been different. Mm-hmm. To start off with, creating a brand from scratch is the hardest challenge. I mean, I think the UAE is opening up much more now towards homegrown brands. But when you're starting off, in every room, in every meeting that you're in, you have to prove your concept. And A, prove your concept, and B, prove that you are the right person to deliver that concept. Yeah. So I think that's the first challenge. And you just have to tell yourself that you're doing this with the best of intentions, and you're going to be relentless. So that was sort of the initial challenge. A constant ongoing challenge is obviously balancing quality and affordability. Luckily, we've nurtured really, really strong supplier relationships. We've sort of talked about the concept with them as well. There's a real feel-good factor to this business because everyone loves, who doesn't love kids? So I think that's really helped us as well. Of course, the recent challenge was COVID.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're not the only ones. We were far from immune to it, and it's really humbled us because overnight our business vanished.
So, what in your opinion sets Leela's Lunches apart from other school food providers?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that sets us apart is our focus is solely on children, what their needs are for their growing bodies and mind. Kids are not an afterthought for us. They are pretty much the only line of business that we're in. I don't know if you guys know this, but the world's biggest food companies, I can't name them, but you'll know who they are, spend billions on R&D, on research and development to maximize what's called the global stomach space. And they do this through non-food chemicals, additives. Basically, they want you hungry. They want you craving for more because that's how they win. And what we do is probably at the other end of the spectrum. So our goal is not just to feed you healthy meals, but also to educate you. And now that we have this wonderful new cafe, I'm hoping that we can get some sessions in with you guys on nutrition. Particularly, when I say nutrition, I mean literally something as simple as when you buy something, reading the back of the label and seeing what that contains and what that does to your body, just to be aware of that. Ultimately, you guys will all go off and, you won't be with your mums and dads anymore. You'll be making your own conscious choices. And what we want is for you to be armed with the knowledge. So I feel like that's the education around, the focus on kids and the education around nutrition. I think that's the key sort of factor that sets us apart.
And that's actually really
It's great to teach children how to do
crucial.
that.
Yeah, it's crucial as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. So Finley and I have both got from the Leela's lunches, and the food, I'm not just saying this, is genuinely extremely delicious.
Oh, amazing.
So how have you managed to account for the balance between taste and quality?
Sure. I think when you say taste and quality, do you mean sort of taste and health? Is that
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. There seems to be this perception, and I'll be honest, I had it, about a decade ago as well, is when we talk about healthy food, there's this perception that it sort of lacks taste and soul and, that kind of feel-good factor of food. Something like, it basically, when you think healthy meals, you probably think sort of like steamed vegetables or like a boring salad, but that's not actually the case. There's so many creative ways of playing around with actual real ingredients to enhance like flavor of food, and that's where the creativity element of this business comes in. That's where my business partner is the one that spearheads that, and she just has so much fun as a chef there. And we've actually got an internal committee, all of us from different parts of the world with varying taste palettes, so before any item goes on the menu, that there's sort of like a committee of people that have to approve it, because we're sort of guessing everyone's taste here. So and as for the health quotient, then of course we've got a strict health philosophy. If it doesn't tick every box there, it's not on the menu.
Well, that's such a creative way to be able to decide what to put on your menu. That is really interesting.
I think it's just a good way of keeping us in check, So as the people in this business may change, we still want the process to remain the same.
Yeah.
So if I take a pasta dish, for instance, and it'll look like a regular pasta dish, but our food has a lot of hidden vegetables in it.
Yeah.
You might.
As a business, how do you look to further Leela's lunches in terms of being environmentally friendly?
Sure. I mean, just to be 100% honest in terms of our start point itself, when we started this business, sustainability was we didn't want this to be, an added sort of CSR bit. This was something that was a core tenet for us. So people think about sustainability in the context of using plastic and all that, and that's all true as well. But food industries, they have to just simply look at the food itself on being sustainable. So firstly, we buy local and seasonal as much as possible. So for instance, when you see fruit on the menu, it doesn't specify what kind of fruit it is, it just says seasonal fruit. That's how it is everywhere around the world. You buy sort of from there. Now, in the UAE, obviously, we're spoiled because food comes from everywhere. So we're used to things being available all year round, but we all know that's not actually the case. It doesn't grow all year round. So we're very particular that we buy from local sources or sort of regional sources, so as close to UAE as possible to minimize our carbon footprint. Waste, obviously that's one thing, right sizing waste, because otherwise this all ends up in the tip. That is something that we're very particular about. Use of chemicals, pesticides, hormones, antibiotics in food. Those ingredients we stay away from. They're horrible both for our health and for the environment. I'll give you an example. The kind of meat we use, factory farm meat, is absolutely terrible for the environment. So each, whether it's chicken, beef, lamb, whatever meat, turkey, whatever meat we use, it's hormone and antibiotic free. It's sort of free range. So it is the best version of it for the environment. Outside of food, obviously, then it comes down to sort of packaging. Now that COVID restrictions are no longer in place, we're looking to move away from disposable packaging. I mean, now disposable packaging is also sort of bagasse and friendly ingredients that are biodegradable, but still, there's nothing better than something that's completely reusable. So now we'll be going back to proper plates and cutlery. So that's obviously the ultimate source of not being wasteful.
And one final question. How do you get the pizza to taste so good?
The pizzas. I think if I told you what the ingredients were, when it's got courgettes, cauliflower, sweet potato, you probably wouldn't touch it if you'd actually just heard about it initially.
You wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's kind of where the chef part, the art part comes in. There were numerous taste tests before this got on the menu.
It's definitely not. It's amazing. It is delicious. All the food at Leela's lunches, I don't think any student can fault any of it. It's
so glad to
really
hear
amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for discussing Leela's lunches with us.
Thank you. So lovely to be here.
Thank you.